Welcome to your magic moon message. This is the peace dealer, and the moon is in Virgo, and the sun is in Libra. We have reached the end of this Libra season cycle, and as we prepare to go deeper into Scorpio and get spooky, if not biblical, it is time to review the habits we developed that got us into Libra season and revisit these habits as we leave Libra season. As we know, we started Libra season off with 28-degree new moon conjunction. That means sun and moon in Virgo. Then they went to 29 degrees. Then the moon entered Libra following the sun. And of course, as we end Libra season, the moon in Virgo is coming up into a balsamic phase, aka a Pisces signature, meaning that the moon is making a 330 to 360 degree angle to the sun. Once again, it's important to note that we are not basing this off the constellations. This is not sidereal. These are based off of tropical calculations. So the sun is not at the beginning of the Libra. We are not delineating a 23-degree subtraction from all the planes, because we know that zodiac signs are not constellations. So what makes the sun at the degree of Libra it is right now isn't based on where it falls in the constellation backdrop, but more so the fact that given the seasonal influence of the fall equinox in the northern hemisphere, we are now experiencing more night than day. In order to better understand the sequence of events, we want to revisit the new moon, first quarter square, full moon, third quarter square, and now after this transit, the final new moon we're going to have at the end of Libra. For the purpose of explaining this cycle, we're going to use an analogy that you can substitute for anything. So let's assume that during the new moon in Virgo, opposite Saturn in Pisces, you activated this supernatural technique that enables you to analyze future events up until 1 minute from now. So that means that you, whether through some technique or form, you're able to know what's going to happen 1 full minute before it happens. So we're going to take that technique and we're going to use that as an analogy to show you how during cardinal action-oriented, social action-oriented Libra season, the moon going through Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, and back into Virgo have changed your perspective around what actions you take with other people and your social awareness and the development of these superpowers. Boom. So new moon Virgo happens right before Libra. You understand how, oh wow, it's almost as if like I knew what would happen a minute from now. Then a week later, while the moon is in Sagittarius and we're in Libra season, right? This is where we start to activate the higher meaning of said power. And this is where now you're seeing what these abilities are, and you're having a conversation with someone, and it's like you saw what's happening a minute before it happened. And you finish this person's sentence, and they're like, how did you know I was going to say that? Then the moon a week later goes into Pisces, and after that experience, your imagination is starting to understand how you can begin to apply this in many different situations. Hence, the way you are socializing with others, you are imagining how you can induce this behavior in order to integrate now a greater experience or more effectiveness of connecting with others. So now through that Virgo signature, you have extended that 1 minute to now 5 minutes. You can sense 5 minutes into the future. And I want to use an extreme example like this because it borders on, you know, not just the supernatural, but how we're going to begin to like push forward and stretch out more unconventional means of making sense of our own abilities, powers, attributes. Then a week later, the moon goes into Gemini, and that final breakthrough point allows you to understand the true meaning of what you've been developing. So now by the moon in Gemini, which we had last week, that 5-minute span you have memorized, and you're able to navigate through there. Especially with the moon going through the North Node in Pisces and then squaring into Gemini, it's like, 5 minutes from now, a disaster might happen and you're able to avert it because now you've fully broken through this cycle and you have a true meaningful understanding of what more you can develop with this technique. That's what brings us back to the moon in Virgo, where now that you spent a whole month really developing this technique, you are releasing and transcending old habits you had before you were able to see into 5 minutes at a time. So before we started this transit, you were connecting with people normally. Now that we're closing out this transit, you know that in 4 minutes and 30 seconds, Bob is going to say some slick shit to you, and you already have a retort. Now Bob is like, how did you know I was even going to say that? You're like, this prepares us for the new moon in Libra in a couple of days, where now that we have mastered this initial development, we're now activating the superpower. We're now applying this utilization of the technique. We've gone through a month to adjust it. Now I'm just walking up to people like, hey, don't cross the street. And they're like, what? And then a bus just moves forward. Libra, which could be of superheroism. Activism as well. Now, that was a very extreme and wasn't my best analogy, but I wanted to show you how through the mutable signs we've gone through, this has served to shift your perspective. We will do this every month. Every month, the moon will go through the 4 mutable signs. During mutable seasons, we call them game changers. During cardinal sign seasons, if we're moving in a direction, the mutable sign moon placements shift our perspective about what direction, in this case with Virgo, how we're going to move forward. And because it's a Pisces signature, the analysis of old unconscious habits and beliefs that no longer apply. Meaning, over the rest of this Virgo season transit, your behavior around dealing with others, your behavior around relating with others, your behavior around social actions you take are actively changing. This happens every year. So the transit in of itself is nothing new. However, knowing that Venus is in Libra now, polishing what we've spent the past 20 plus days developing through awareness, is going to immediately, as soon as the moon meets Venus in Libra, apply this change of behavior, and you're going to feel more forward movement in who you're connecting with and what you're doing. With Neptune getting ready to retrograde back into Pisces, this reimagination of our character is going to develop more of our imagination, as now we've seen where we can take it. So the rest of the year is just going to have us really, work on our belief systems as far as what more is possible. For example, before Neptune entered Aries, you only had an idea or a belief of what the future after it goes into Aries could look like. Then by July, it entered Aries with Saturn, and the next few months you're sneak peeking, oh, okay, I'm actually out here. I'm out of Plato's cave. I'm doing this, boom, boom, boom. You're getting an idea of what this is going to look like. It's retrograding back into Pisces, and now you're believing it and working on what you believe in it. Now as someone who's begun to explore a bit versus before where you didn't know what it would look like. And Mercury and Mars are going to continue this psychoanalytical exploration that will, with your brain with Mercury and your actions with Mars, dive you much deeper into this psychological understanding, but more so transformation in your application of how much more intimately you communicate and take action with other people. So you could actually look forward to this moon in Virgo sextiling Mercury and Saturn to give this analytical understanding, Virgo moon, connecting with this psychoanalytical brain processing and this action orientation with Mars and Mercury. This is going to begin to align the physiological with the intangible psychological, and you could look forward to massive revelations. that relative to this balsamic phase will require release, because now you're no longer the person who was just, stuck in this real-time motion. I don't want to say stuck. Now you're perceiving 5 minutes ahead of what's about to happen in a way that's efficient, and you don't have to make up for what is it that really happened. Like, you're clear. This sequence with the moon coming out of Virgo and going into Libra is going to be very empowering for you, because given that this is the last mutable adjustment, perceptual adjustment since the new moon we had, opposite Saturn, mind you, as the moon returns opposite Saturn, you are revisiting the way your belief systems have aligned with your habits. But now, as we will apply it with the new moon in Libra, this is going to serve to transform your belief system. If before you were believing, I can only get so far in my relationships with others, now once you apply this new technique and you're able to see 5 minutes ahead within any conversation, what you previously believed because of these new actions, where now it's like, oh wow, I was able to stop this person from walking down the wrong direction of the street. Your beliefs are now transforming because you were believing you could do a lot more with other people. And substitute that analogy how you will, but that's what it's going to be feeling like over the next 2 to 3 days. Everything that is shifting, you're going to get detailed analytical understanding of how this is shifting and what trajectory and direction to start moving in. Because when we have that new moon in Libra, which is the first time we're having it this year, that's going to activate the direction we will move into. So if starting Libra season you are here, by the time we end Libra season, you're probably going to go this direction. And of course, once we go into spooky Scorpio season, it's going to intensify, it's going to deepen. We're going to get, we're going to get dark with it. So like I said, substitute that technique, right? You're going to turn the technique into a superpower. But now I want you to examine, I gave you this, you could see 5 minutes into the future, but I want you to examine in your real life what you're already exhibiting that's just as weird or strange as that. And the reason why that's very important is that this moon in Virgo is going to, once again, detail very analytically how this process works, which may make sense of the fog that was created with Saturn and Neptune going back into Pisces, to align your beliefs around what's possible with the moon in Virgo, giving you an analytical understanding of how real these mechanics are outside of just your belief. Now you're actually replicating it. You're able to share how, and other people may be able to replicate it unless it's unique to you. And especially with the moon opposing Saturn again, this can produce massive breakthrough before we activate even more breakthrough. And, you may come into this weird special anime awakening moment. Who knows? But regardless, especially with the Uranus square to Gemini, that will be trining as soon as the moon goes into Libra, phenomena and facets of this process that were still just imaginary to you, that you couldn't put into words, that didn't make real sense, are making real sense. All the real sense now. And there's nothing you really have to do. You're just going to surrender, and your perspective, you will be guided subconsciously to adjust. The only way this will really get in your way is if you're downplaying any reality checks, if you're trying to just find confirmation bias, if you're not willing to adjust to where maybe you might not be the most on point with what you think this is a good thing, so that it'll just help you adjust. It's okay to be wrong about stuff. It's okay to be right about stuff. And yeah, you can look forward to a pretty cool finale regarding that. You guys comment down below what these experiences may be for you, because you're going to understand more how to make this more consistent, and then boom, activate it with the new moon in Libra. You guys stay blessed as always, and until next time, peace.